Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining early. We'll give it a couple of more minutes, and then we'll get started with the webinar. Okay, everyone, I think we'll get started. We'll let people trickle in and join as they're arriving. We'll start with a little bit of intro anyways. Welcome everyone to the last Feature Spotlight webinar of 2025. We hope you've been enjoying them and attending some of the previous ones, and we have been very happy with the participation and the response to this. So we definitely plan to do more of these in 2026. So this last feature spotlight is on the data visualizer. So we kind of called it a bit of a deep dive. I will say that we're not really doing kind of the whole back to basics things, but the deep dive is more around both new and some recent, but not like the last release functionality. And also maybe some functionality that we feel are maybe still um, not used so much, or maybe not yet discovered by all users. Maybe even some tips and tricks. So we hope that even if you are quite familiar with the data visualizer, hopefully you'll learn something new today. At the end, I will even ask if you yourself have any fun tips and tricks that you like to use in Data Visualizer that you can share with the other participants. So, very welcome to ask questions in the chat. As you can see in the agenda, I've divided it up a bit, so I think we can do a super quick pause after each section because I think we'll have plenty of time for questions as well. Um, but yeah, as you can see, I've split it up in a few different things. First, we'll take a look at one of the most recent chart types. We'll look at a couple of options for pivot tables and configuring them. And then for all kinds of chart types, but maybe mainly bar charts, line charts, etc., and how you can even combine some of them, use multiple axes, etc. And then at the end, we'll go through the ones that are really the new functionality, things that have come this year, and especially with the 42 release in May. So yeah, we will then jump over to the first thing I'm going to demo. We'll just do a little bit of intro first. So again, from 41, we have this new chart type called Outlier chart. One of the reasons for adding this was because we wanted to make sure we replicated the WHO data quality app functionality within kind of the core, the bundled VHS2 apps. So again, one of the things since you can create these outlier charts in the data visualizer, that also means it can be added to dashboards, for example, which we also have outlier tables in our core data quality app, but there you can't add them to dashboards, etc. I will also show you the fact that you have to run specific analytics tables for outliers, and also how you're even able to, change a bit of this outlier detection method and thresholds in options. So I will just jump over to DHIS2. So let me know if you don't see, DHIS2 itself, the data administration, for example. So again, here I just wanted to show when you're actually running analytics tables, you have this last option. I'm sure you've actually seen that both of these are usually already checked when you're running analytics. This is because these are quite, intensive operations. So that would take quite a lot of time. Tracked entity data would be for kind of cross-program analysis and line listing, and then you have outlier data. So they're usually already checked. So you have to actually explicitly uncheck it when you're running analytics, which I'm not going to do right now because we're in a webinar. It'll take a while. But I just wanted to show that because if you start using outlier, the outlier chart type already, and you haven't run this, it will give you an error message saying that. But then you know where to go and what to uncheck. But yeah, let's then dive into Data Visualizer. So I do want to show one thing that we just fixed. I know that a lot of people have been saying that if you have kind of a zoomed in screen resolution, for example, which I also have right now because of the webinar and making sure you all see what I'm showing, this kind of visualization type selector used to kind of overflow and you wouldn't be able to see everything. So I just want to show that we have fixed that now. We have this very simple little scroll bar, so now you should be good even if you're zoomed in quite a bit, you're still very much able to see all the different types. So here we have the outlier table. So let's click that. As you can see, it's going to be a very basic table. So we are, just for simplicity, we are locking all these dimensions, and when you start choosing data, just say these things are, again, because I'm zoomed in, just so no need to report a bug on that. So it says only data elements can be used in outlier tables. So you're only seeing the data elements here. We can just start with, we can just look at our trusted ANC first visit and update, and then see if we have any outliers here. So as you can see, you have a list. We can, for example, just for simplicity, look at this month. You can see here that it will only use one period at a time for this type of dimension. So yeah, again, here we see the various outliers. I will defer to my colleagues on all the, data quality information. We have great online academies, etc., in terms of learning more about data quality. But we have also added here very nice, very explicit tooltips to, again, let you see what you're actually looking at. Again, because outlier tables are a bit high on performance. Uh, you see here that I have a certain amount of records, I think 20, and you can't really page them because of performance. So we actually have here in the options that you can do, change the maximum results. It's gonna do 150. Yeah, so you see, but I don't have that many, but then if there were 150, I would have seen that many. Yeah, and this is just, I mean, a great way to, look at statistical deviations. Like they don't necessarily have to be errors. It could be many different things. It's more saying, this value is different, and it's a very good way of just starting point for reviewing. And again, having one of these, for example, in one of your data quality dashboards would be great. We also have specific outlier options. So again, various detection methods here, which you can read the documentation to see which one would be better, and this would then change also the results. I mean, then it basically says no outliers found. If we go back and do, for example, a different threshold, that will also change the results. So this is again for those with data quality knowledge, you can really play and sort around with this chart. I think, yeah, we can, if there are any questions on that quickly. If not, we can move on to the next. And again, we can go back at the end for any questions if you haven't had time to write it in the chat yet. So then we're going to look at some fairly new. Oh, I saw that Eric raised. You raised your hand, Eric. Did you have anything on the outliers? I don't know how it works with if people can unmute.
Sorry, I think sorry, it's me, Tuzo. However, it's probably written as Eric Chingan. I'm just wondering how and why. Yeah, but it's just a kind of a feedback, but maybe something that you can do to improve the outlier, something like that. Because as you are saying, you are replicating the WHO data quality app functionality, and the outlier was one of the functionality, also was part of the WHO data quality. But also based on the WHO data quality app, it was able to show in terms of color coding, like if it has exceeded what was expected in terms of the outlier. So I was wondering that also possible to be able to color the table, showing like what maybe if I'm looking for the last 12 months, okay, so showing it for each month, and if maybe for the specific month it has gone higher than what was like the average for the rest of the month. Maybe if it can be colored, maybe a red kind of to show the flag, like here, there was a huge spike compared to the rest of the month. So something that I was wondering if can also be done over there. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I think, like I said, our intention is to make sure that you can replicate the functionality either here or in our core data quality app or a combination. So yeah, we should definitely have a look at that because yeah, right now I don't think there's any, legends or anything in the outlier table, so I will note that down and take that back to the team. So thank you, Tuso. Okay. Then let's do, yes, like I said, a couple of new or fairly new options for pivot tables, or options that at least when I've shown people have been very pleasantly surprised. So let's first just start over here. So let's look at what we've added in terms of cumulative values. So basically adding up values, for example, over over each month. I'm just going to move this because it accumulates row based. So right now, I mean, of course, you see the BCG doses given for each month. And so, I mean, if you just want to, more spot like differences, variations, etc., this is great. But if you just want to more track the progress over the whole year, seeing how, the doses have accumulated, we do have this cumulative values here. We've had this for a while in charts, but again, in pivot tables, it was added in 41. If I check this, you see that totals are not supported when using cumulative values. That makes sense because you are accumulating, for each column. And so totals here would at the end then would be a bit misleading. So now that I've updated it, you see that the numbers grow for each one. And then the last cumulative value is 4,115, just to show that the data aligns. If I then do a row total here, it's the same. So it's just a way to see, again, more the accumulative process. So that is cumulative values, pretty straightforward. Hope it will be very beneficial to also have for pivot tables as well as charts. The next thing I want to show is, for example, if we put organization units in rows instead, and we decide to, for example, look at all the facilities. Then you get a long list of org units. And you're thinking, okay, I want to scroll down, and you are then not able to, or you don't know what you're seeing here, right? Like if you actually go December versus January, you don't actually remember. So what you can do is, I have of course my dog in the room next door barking. So just one second. I was hoping this wouldn't happen during the webinar, but it did. Hi, Odus. Say hi to everyone at the webinar. Sorry about that. Yes, I was going to show you with the long list of all the org units. You can now actually, well, you can either fix the column headers or the row headers or both. But what is most relevant here is the column headers. So let's do that. And now when you scroll, you will have all the months there to remind you what you're actually looking at. So this is one that I've shown to a few people that, it's a bit hidden in the options. Again, we could spend a lot of time going through all the different options for all the different charts. There's a lot of great possibility there, but this is hopefully one that people will find very helpful. Okay. So again, yeah, that was a very quick section on a couple of new options on pivot tables. I don't know if there's any questions on those or if they were pretty straightforward. If so, I can move on to the next. All right. Again, there will be plenty of time for questions after. So just put your question in the chat and we can have a look. So then we're going to look at a couple of options for chart types. Again, specifically bar and line charts mostly. So let's just again start over. And this time I would like to look at a column chart. So one of the things that you maybe want to look at is maybe you want to look at both kind of the raw, the absolute number of doses of a vaccine given, but then also the coverage. I would like to have a look at some of the oral polio vaccine numbers and coverages. So maybe I'll do OPV 0 coverage for less than 1 year olds and OPV 3. And then let's also do the doses. So again, here we have an indicator, a percentage indicator, and we also have the absolute number of doses given. And I'm sure this is very, like basics for a lot when it comes to making charts. Of course, Now I have the bar charts, I have the absolute numbers here, and I have the percentages down here. First of all, percentages, maybe not, for bar charts versus the absolute numbers, the range here is very much off. So then I can think maybe I would like to show the coverage as a line instead. So if you then go to options and series, again, because you have your data in the series, we have this that you can see all the various data items here. And you can decide that, okay, I want to do some as bar chart and some as line. And so then again, maybe do the coverage as line and but again, then just to show you, update, the lines are still down here again because everything is on the same axis. And that moves us over to the other part of this chart configuration, is that you can move some of your data items to other axes. Actually, you could do even four of them. Then you have to, of course, think of, what are your labels, what are your steps and ranges in these axes, which we'll look at very, very soon. So again, I could do that these two doses are the two on the left, and these two are the two on the right, and do it like this. Um, but again, I think in this example, we can have the same two axes for the two things. So you can do coverage are on axis two, and and doses are on axis one. And then you see this is a much more clear combination chart where you can again see both the absolute numbers and the coverage at the same time. Um, so also you can see here that, for example, October, November is not yet captured any data for. I also wanted to show that you can hide empty categories here. You can even say, before the first, which basically means before the first category with data, or after, or just all. And this is really nice because then you can kind of configure it like this and then add it to the dashboard. And as soon as then there is added data for October and November, that will show up. But you don't have to have those, empty categories at the end. Um, so yeah, I think then we'll look a little bit at all the ways that you can configure your access. Just play around a bit with that. So we have this axis one and we have this axis two. So again, for the title, you can decide on auto generation or custom. You can say test, feature, spotlight, have that. Again, all these various colors. For the axis range, again, you see that the max here is 7.2. There's 48. You can decide to have it be, a lot less than that if you want. We can do, maybe we don't want to see anything above 6,000. The steps are these axis steps. So it's not what like the difference between them, but it's like how many steps do you want here right now, right? We don't have that many. We have 7. We can do 20, for example. I will say that if you do a lot more steps on one side than another, then these lines in the back will be a bit askewed. I can show you that in a second. And then you can also do, a target line. What is our target line? Maybe it's 5,000. Again, it's just all these things that you can decide um, to do. I think the target line is not showing because I'm zoomed in a bit. That's something I'm gonna report back to the team, but it was there now when I zoomed out, and you see the title. You see again what I mentioned with, if you have a lot of steps here and less on the other side, it's a little bit of these background lines. So I would suggest to just keep the steps at least, fairly the same. If I go in again here and then choose the same steps, was it 20 I chose? Then they align back up. So yeah, again, there's a lot of options. You saw I also had the baseline, and you can, configure all of this. You can again also configure the horizontal axis, but that's more title, etc. Not so much configuration as the vertical ones. Yeah, I think we will see if there's any questions on that for a second before I move on to some of our newest functionality. Okay, we do have a question. Yeah, okay. Just very nice comment. Thank you so much, my amigo. Thank you so much. That's great to hear. Okay, but let's now move on to maybe some of the functionality that less people have seen because again, it came out this year. So let's move on. Yeah, let's see some of these new functionalities. So let's start with data item definitions. You probably noticed when I've been selecting data here that something that's come fairly recently are these this information area here. So first of all, for example, you are able to see very clearly whether something is a data element, program, indicator, event data item, etc. So that is helpful for the users, but we also have added this info button here. So I can let's do just ANC first visit again, but the coverage just to show first. So if you click this button, you basically get this window with all kinds of metadata information about that indicator. As you can see, you both have the numerator description and expression, and the same for denominator. You have all the other information, what kind of indicator type it is, what group, if you have legend set, description. Again, even the code and ID as well, so that can be very nice to pull that out quickly for any other needs. And you can't like click here and drill down, but since I see, oh, the numerator is the name of this, then you can, go in and search for that particularly and see that, okay, that's a data item. And you see here with the data item, again, this adjusts based on, what kind of data type it is. So here there's other information because it's a data element. Again, what data set it belongs to, which is again very nice if you're trying to find a specific data element. Even with the category combo, you can drill down and see each of the categories. This one only has the location fixed outreach category. And again, the group, legend, and code, and everything else again. We can have a quick look at a program indicator just to, again, show how they differ. So for example, age at visit, you see all the different things, what program it belongs to, and again, all the things about the period boundaries, what is the expression, does it have any filter, etc. We hope this is going to be super helpful for users to just, know more about their data and what they're actually seeing to be able to interpret it fully. We know that a lot of times, users are wondering, what is this indicator actually calculating? Where is it pulling the data from? But maybe they don't have access to the maintenance app, for example. So this can also be a nice way to troubleshoot, if they're seeing, unexpected data and they can see, wait, is this indicator actually calculating what I think it is? So we hope this one will be helpful. This is something that's been requested for a long time. So uh, we're really looking forward to see, more of the use of this. So then we will move on to, I'll just start a new file, pivot table. Then we'll start looking at what we call option set disaggregation or option set counts. So basically, if you have, and I will first say this is for what we call event data items only, because in Data Visualizer there is also some way of aggregating and visualizing individual data. So event data items is also sort of the common word for tracker and event program data, and also attributes and data elements and everything there. So this kind of option set disaggregation has been first and foremost added for that, which again is a little bit different than in the event reports. You're doing pivot tables, but you're doing events. You can disaggregate, and you can move the different aggregations on the rows and the columns. As you know, here in Data Visualizer, it's all in one data block. Yeah, so here you're more looking at the values, the number of values, or the itself. And on that, though, we are working on a new app for individual analysis, which I think we mentioned a bit on the community, etc., which will contain event reports with pivot tables and line listing all in one, and eventually also event visualizers. That's also very exciting. But you do have some ways, again, of analyzing individual data also in Data Visualizer. And one of those things have been with option sets. So if you have, for example, an option set of gender with male and female, people have often had to kind of make program indicators for each of this option, each of the, if you again have an option set with lots of services or lots of different test types, and then you wanted some counts and things on that, you've had to have made a program indicator for each one. So again, with that long intro, just showing how this will hopefully be a bit easier for some of that option set disaggregation. So let's have a look at we'll look at the malaria program for now. We'll look at this malaria inpatient, outpatient. One of the main differences you will see then with this option set disaggregation is, or just options sets in general, you will see that there's this little button here that notifies that this data item actually has an option set. So you can click there, and what you then get is the options in that option set. As you can see here, we even have that as a data type option, and you can even see, again, an option doesn't have as much metadata tied to it, but you can still see things here. Again, a very easy way to get your code right away, etc. So let's just do both of inpatient and outpatient as the two options. The reason that this shows blank is that, as you maybe know, is that data elements with option sets is value type text, and value type text has default aggregation type none. So you actually have to override that a little bit manually, but it's fine, and actually decide here then which aggregation type you want as overriding it. So then you see here that we are getting some numbers. Let's only look at March just to focus on where we have some data. So here we have actually then disaggregated this data from March 2025, all the values that were entered for the option set inpatient or outpatient, and we see that there was one inpatient and 8 outpatients. This is a way of disaggregating that. To show you again how this works, I can go back and actually also, because in our demo database we have program indicators for this, it's just to show you. So if I add in this program indicator for inpatient, and then this for outpatient, you will see that the numbers are the same. So it's both for, again, if you don't want to make these program indicators for each of your options, But it's also great for those, again, that might not have access to program indicators or in maintenance, or again, almost want to, again, troubleshoot a bit to make sure that you cross-check and just make sure you have the right data. I will say that it's not for multi-select option sets right now, but we are working on it, just preempting that. That's probably would be a question. Um, all right. Then again, sort of in the same realm of, making a lot of program indicators, having to make program indicators for various options and age groups and etc. And we know that lots of instances have, hundreds or thousands of program indicators. Um, we added something also in 42 that we called sort of program indicator disaggregation. This is basically where you then decide um, we can go into actually our new maintenance app and program disaggregation. What you do here is that within the program, and with the program indicator, you decide on creating categories that you can disaggregate this on. And this you can, then use across other program indicators too. So you first have to map it. You have to say, in this category that is gender, which you have created earlier and you might use for data sets and other things too. You just have to actually say, okay, within this program, what does female entail and what does male entail? But then again, you can reuse it. Then you've kind of created your standard gender mapping, and then you can use that for a variety of program indicators. So this we also made sure to be supported in Data Visualizer. So if I move back there now, let's do a new one again. So for example, we can look at the program indicator BMI and update. Um, yeah, I didn't point it out, but then this, this is kind of recommended dimensions has this green button. So when I chose BMI, this actually got a green dot because this is the gender. This is the category that we have mapped. So if I drag that up to data, I'll just say that, I mean, we want all items, so basically male and female. And then you actually see that this has also disaggregated this program indicator into female and male. So that will also really help if you're mainly using Data Visualizer to look at your program indicators, and you can just disaggregate in here. It will reduce the number of program indicators that you need drastically. I don't know if David has the numbers for some of the countries we worked with, but it's gone down from hundreds to like, I don't even remember, like just 20 or something. So that is, reduces overhead on both maintenance and initial setup and everything. And I can show you quickly how how compared to if you have already made a program indicator for what we looked at now, which is BMI female and male. So if I add it, it won't show anything because these program indicators have not mapped this disaggregation. But if we remember now that, okay, for female in December, it was 63.71 and male for 63.08. And if I then remove this disaggregation, you can see that that is the same numbers because these are the two program indicators that is the same as or corresponds to the disaggregation that we had here. Okay, that was quite a lot of new features. I think I'm just going to show a little bonus thing, and then we'll go into questions. So this last thing I want to show you is not Data Visualizer directly, but it's adjacent, but it's actually in our dashboard. So as I think many know and we're very excited for a couple of releases back, is that we added this slideshow. And let's see if you hopefully see my screen okay, the full screen, yes. And sort of one of the first questions we then got after this slideshow, right? I'm just now I can't really see my buttons behind here, but that's fine. I can do the arrows. So the first question that people had was, oh, but can this just autoplay, right? This is very helpful for kind of operation centers or just facilities where they just want this dashboard, to just go on a loop. We were sort of meeting the need of, going through manually as a PowerPoint in a review meeting or something, but now we also wanted to meet that sort of autoplay use case. So as you can see, there's this little play button here. We decided not to have it be autoplay, so as soon as you add slideshow, it starts playing, because again, maybe that's not what you intended to do, and then all of a sudden it just starts playing. So we wanted that to be an explicit choice. But you can here choose, number of seconds per slide. But I can just start playing it now, and you'll see that there's this little countdown there. And then when that little bar is done, then I'll move on to the next slide. And we have also added a little message if we were just considerate of, in some of these centers, maybe the TV has been on for a while, this slideshow has been going for a while. So if it's gone more than 24 hours, we actually have a little message just saying that, just so users can be aware that, okay, this is maybe, like maybe there's analytics has been run, or there's been new data that's come since then, because it is not going to update automatically while it's in slideshow. That's a bit too complex. So, but I mean, if you exit it and reload and everything, then it should be fine. But we just wanted to make the kind of have a user notification, so the users know that they might be looking at old data. So that is actually all the functionality that I wanted to highlight here. I hope that it's been some new findings, maybe, and so on. So wanted to see if there were any questions, whether any of you have any tips and tricks for anything that you've noticed in Data Visualizer that you like sharing with people. So yeah, and I'll have a look in the chat now just to see if there was something I haven't looked at. Yes, just someone asking how to access, and thanks, Marta, for sharing the link to the demo. Yeah, I'll wait a little bit for any other questions, but I mean, hopefully things were clear. We'll add all the resources on like the recording, etc., on the COP after this. I will also add a few additional resources as especially for the program indicator disaggregations, because I mean, it takes a little bit of setup. Um, and yeah, very open for any questions also on the COP. Oh, Brian, yeah, you have raised your hand. Please go ahead if you're able to unmute.
I just want to say all the participants should be able to unmute now. So
Great. Yeah, and Brian was unmuted, but
Hey, hello, can you hear me?
yes, we can hear you now.
Oh, great. Okay, so, well, thank you for the presentation. The different features are very attractive. They'll be giving us a very good report eventually. I just wanted to ask if there is a possibility to have a graph that can combine um, many let's say like many bars and have a space and have another category of bars. Maybe I could just give you an example. We're
Yeah,
dealing
maybe,
with
and I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing you. So yeah, but give me an example and then we can see. Yeah.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, much better. Thank you.
Okay, so we're dealing with a dashboard for AMR, and of course those are for different sectors. There's animal, there's health, and then there's also environment. So there is a point where we need to have so many pathogens against, let's say so many antibiotics, selected antibiotics, let's say like 6 of them, and each also selected pathogen. So if we have 6 pathogens and we have 6 antibiotics, is it possible to have a graph that shows, for example, under E. coli, I have levofloxacin, I have meropenem, I have gentamicin, I have all the 6, and they are all having their different data. And then I go to the next one, let's say pneumonia, Klebsiella, okay? And it also has the same antibiotics, and they're also giving different data. Then we go to the next, maybe Enterococcus, and also having those same antibiotics and also giving different data. Is it possible to have one graph that can represent all of that? And this data is coming from a tracker.
Okay.
Do I have to first create data elements, and then I map them with the program indicators using ADEX, and have a data entry form with that, a data set with aggregate data, then maybe it can work? Because I tried that and I got close to the answer, but is it possible to have something direct? I have tracker data, I have my program indicators, and then the data visualizer maybe can help and come up with something like that.
Yeah, it's hard to say something on the go not knowing all your data, but maybe you say you have the program indicator, right? And so maybe you could do the mapping in the categories to the, I guess, then the pathogens. So it sounds like maybe you could do something through program indicator disaggregation, which again just came out in this version. So that would be something new for you to try out. But we can even get in touch. But that could be an option of a nice way to again disaggregate each of the group, like you were saying. I can see that being a possibility, for example.
Okay. I am actually talking this relating to an older version, so I think maybe it might work. So I'll try out first, then consult you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. All right, I don't see any more questions in the chat and no raised hands. And I mean, we're getting fairly close to the end anyway. So I think unless there's any last burning questions, I will just give you about 10 minutes back of your day. So thanks again so much. Hope that was helpful. And yeah, post on the COP if anything is unclear after seeing the recording, or if you need any further information or documentation. So yeah, thanks all. Happy holidays, Happy New Year. And we'll see you for more of these Future Spotlight webinars in 2026. Thank you.